Hello and welcome back to another video in Finding Freedom. It's kind of like finding Forrester or, well, finding something else, or what was the searching for Bobby Fischer, etc. Right? I had someone say something, oh, memento mori or something like that, translation, etc. Right? Something about remember you must die or something. It's to remember that you're human, etc. Blah blah blah. But if you take that and flip it into a different industry context, etc., then you get a different understanding and definition. So let's start with the title: understanding that the enemy is not creative. They can only replicate, like Replit, for you AI people out there. So the enemy is described to not be creative, but to have the great ability to copy, like in Naruto with the Uchihas. Anything you show them, they're able to throw back at you, even sometimes stronger, like Bishop and X-Men as well, right? Now you had Kakashi, he was part Uchiha, right? Or he had the ability, right, with the eye and all that other stuff, right? So he was able to uncover, but it drained his energy and everything else, and he was like had like 1,000 something jutsus or and stuff like that. It was very interesting. He was a part of the Leaf Village. So let's talk about it, right? So you have the fact that, well, if they're not creative and they're stuck and they're lazy, they're going to probably rob, steal, do anything that they have to someone, and then use intimidation and everything else, including, well, their own family members, because, well, once you go against family, I'm pretty sure even in certain organizations like cartels, mafias, gangs, etc., once you betray one person or you betray the group, or whatever, and you just prove to everybody exactly what you're doing, well, then, etc. It is what it is. But they have rules and all that other fun stuff, right? It's like if you betray a country, well, then that's treason, etc. And if you don't know what the hell someone's talking about, instead of asking questions and trying to keep guessing because you like the guessing game and not understanding, well, then there's a difference between a G and a U. So with that, let's put some energy on this, because a lot of people, and I just heard this with Kendrick Lamar, oh, he's a 69 God and all this other stuff. Well, if you were using tech and other things, you can make people look somewhere, right? Like Darren Brown, when he goes like this, oh, made you look, so on and so forth, etc. Or if you're using tech, you can manipulate it so that the numbers show up, right? Or you can, if you're a tech or hack, so on and so forth, you can get into someone's vehicle because everybody has an ECU chip, a Wi-Fi, and everything else. You could bypass all that. You're smart. And you can mess with people's calibrations and stuff like that. That would be interesting. But all that already was created. There's only a handful of people that actually created it or new methods around it, right? So let's continue. New things / ideas are valuable to others, so they steal it and leave you with nothing. You remember Nikola Tesla? How many inventions did he come out with and things that where he could have been running the world so efficiently, but people stole it, remixed it slightly, and used it for other things to put not just money in their pocket, but to have power and control over others. Right? Interesting, right? It's just like, if it leaves you with nothing, it's like you have a graphic tee on, and then all of a sudden you end up in a black t-shirt or a white t-shirt or a gray one or white one or a red one or whatever, right? But it has nothing on it. And then you have to repaint the canvas, right? Imagine if you bought a painting that's an original and then they just bleach the canvas, etc. Right? Would it still be valuable? Probably not. Would it be used for something else? Possibly. If they were to take that painting and then add, let's say, one stream of color or a couple streams of color, is it still valuable? Is it as valuable as the original? See, people have to start understanding this because they'll never find freedom, right? It's chess, not checkers. These are warning shots, if that makes sense. If you've seen my other video, depending on how these come out, there's a banner, and people always say, I wonder why they walk away. I wonder why this, that, and the third. I think it was in the show The Preacher or something like that. My dad asked me, and I was like, there's a banner, and in the banner there's like swords, and then there's another one. So like if my opposing thumb was here, and this finger went across, holding the other swords back. Once this gets out the way, these are able to go and curl, and now I can throw a punch, right? Or the others can do so, depending if we have an insider threat or whatever the case may be, right? Or depending on the scenario, situation, and etc. Right? Most people don't know what resides outside, and they've been groomed to be lazy. Right? Why is it when you go on a cruise, you can stop at a pharmacy outside the United States and literally just tell them, I need this, 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 and this because I feel this way, and then they could just give it to you? In the United States, it's different. How many of you knew that? You need checks, balances, permission, and everything else because they needed to create slaves. And if you don't know that you're a slave by now, well then, sweetheart, you definitely didn't grow up near, around, or in the ghetto, or whatever the case may be. Let's continue. This is why those who can create are deemed valuable, such as women and some men. Women can create human, right? I think in the other video, I discussed the movie Step Up, right? And in the movie Step Up, they hint at it, but it's in code, right? So 1 for the paper, 2 for the money. The First Amendment, and then the Second Amendment, the freedom of speech, which covers so much more stuff like religion, expression, and everything else. And then, of course, you have the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. So if 1 for the paper, 2 for the money, if you don't understand that, well, then you'll never understand why the person that's speaking to you, like a master of ceremonies, an MC, whatever the case may be, when they walk away and they just don't care anymore, or you tried and they just walk away and then other stuff starts happening, that's because they lifted the arm and the other ones get to do what they need to. Remember that. So let's continue, because understanding is the key here, right? Not just seeing it, but understanding, right? A piece of art that can be replicated loses its value, unlike something like a Pollock painting, right? Pollock's technique and randomness made sure that the artwork was not only random, but painted well, right? It wasn't controlled by direct energy weapons, technology, whatever the case may be, yada, yada, right? How many of you think we're in a simulation because of the things that occurred in your life? And how many of you have been living a normal life and then all of a sudden things look like a simulation all of a sudden? Something made the game hard on purpose. Because if it was easy and then somebody else wanted to step in as you were leveling up and they lied to you to say, well, this is the process. No, you're not getting it. Right? Yeah, AI came out. That's great. I picked up some kids over in, where was it? Raleigh, North Carolina. They were bragging about how they used AI to do their code for their computer science class and all that. I don't know if they had a PhD or whatever. But they were like, oh, AI said this and AI did that. And then we just turned it in. I said, you didn't proofread it? You didn't rewrite everything? No. Oh, so you just went based off of it's AI. It's supposed to know a lot. It's supposed to be smart. And here we go. They can't run it through checks and analysis and things like that. Tech never fails. You've seen Mission Impossible. He's climbing up the building and then all of a sudden the glove that has him looking like Spider-Man, all of a sudden, oh no, what happened to the thing? Now you had to improvise and your life's on the line. What are you going to do? See, for some of you, this tells me exactly how much training you've had and haven't. And that's another issue. See, they say, oh, well, when one finger's pointed at you, there's a multiple pointing back. Yeah, that's why we use a knife hand, dumbass. Because if you point like this, there's 3 pointed back at you, right? So when you're pointing at somebody, there's 3. That's why you go like this for the smart asses out there, and you give them the knife hand. Now, let's continue. Last but not least, stealing magic versus stealing creativity. Now, most people would be like, oh, well, you could download or torrent or whatever. Yes, you can. However, if you wait a prolonged period of time and that person has made money off of it, right? then just like Nikola Tesla, who created things that look like magic because, well, anything that's not described by science and shared with the masses is indistinguishable from such, well, then that creativity and everything else goes out to everybody and they get to utilize it, play with it, so on and so forth. And what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Well, they're going to do a lot of stuff. See, this is why Android is actually more successful than the iOS. See, the Android is more successful from research because it's utilized around the world, which means it has more at bats with different individuals in different languages that can do other stuff that you probably can't. And that's how they reinforce their security. Apple's not allowed everywhere, but you fell in love with it. Why? It has certain security features. Why? It's easy to break. Why? They can hack into it and upload software. Why? It's only allowed in certain locations. But I'm sure if you go somewhere else, Android's allowed there or some type of platform. Who cares what color the bubble is, right? Unless you looked around and you know what green matters, which is probably why Android's all over the place, because your grass on your front lawn is green, just like a bush or a tree. But it wouldn't exist without water, which can look blue sometimes. That connects the oceans and rivers and everything else to land, connecting everything. You may watch over, no offense, air, land, and sea, but you wouldn't have any of it without a fucking globe. So I wonder why that one arm is there, stopping everybody from going back, because there's something that they don't understand yet. But once this arm moves out the way, everybody gets to go forward. Then what happens? Oh, well, this, don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to fucking hear it. Why? Because you didn't want to take the time to hear or understand what one individual was saying, because you like the cycle of chaos. Yeah, oh, well, how do you know if we don't push the boundaries? We could say this person believes in this, and then we could make them look crazy and maybe do this and then make things difficult, and then we could test all their mental health medications. Because why? Exactly. Because you need to medicate people instead of understanding people. Yeah, there's some people that have mental health issues. But when you fraudulently do it, when you incorporate everybody else, you get to see their true colors. And then when they get called out after a consecutive period of time, well, then there's a real deep issue, isn't there? How much of the ocean have we explored? I mean, hell, they're talking about going to outer space, but how many people would put themselves in a fucking submarine with all them other creatures down there, and then at one point see something bigger than them and go, you know what? It's probably not a great idea. I'm going to head this way. Hopefully it doesn't attack. Or you want to go to space, you see a big ass thing, and you asteroid, whatever, you can't do that. You got to start over. I'm going to move from here to here. I know about the other place. Okay, we're going to start over. It's dark and hell is hot. I don't know. Is it? Is it dark because the people have a tan? And it's hot because it's near the equator? Or it's just hot climate? Is it humid? Or whatever, right? Oh, wait, what about science? Right? Because science teaches that there's a crust, a mantle, and a core. And if the core isn't there, well, then where's the mantle? And if the mantle isn't there, then where's the crust? It's like the slices of meat on a sandwich, then you have the bread, and then you have the crust. Think about it. Now, I knew some of you caught that one. Some people might tell me to stop. But if somebody only made it this far to only get this far, well, then you're sadly misconstrued. And if you don't want to go forward, well, then I guess we have to go backwards, because that's where everybody wants to go, right? See what happens? So you can't teach youngins magic too early, because sometimes they can mistreat it, misuse it. And I think I mentioned that in another video, right? It's just like teaching somebody about physics too early that says, oh, I can do this, 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 and this. And then all of a sudden, bam, they get older. And after a consecutive period of time, what they were trained already by the environment and all the other characteristics, etc. Right? I knew magic at an early age, and I remember I shared this with a barber once who was into spades. And he was like, oh, I like what you do. Do you know how to, are you a mechanic? Do you know how to like fix cards and all this? And because I learned very quickly, I learned not to do that, but I wanted to show him for entertainment purposes. He quickly explained the game. I shuffled the cards, dealt everything out, and he goes, oh, I only have like 4 books or 4 books or something like that. And I was like, yeah, but you said the spades win the game. He goes, yeah. I said, that's why I have the other ones in my hand. And he turned over the other ones already, and he goes, how the hell did you do that? I want to hire you for a game. No. See, because there's a fine line between using deception to influence and then deception to manipulate. And then you have to ask the question, why are you manipulating versus why are you influencing? It's like debits and credits and debits in business and personal. But if you're bipolar, or you're in business and you do personal stuff on the side, give or take, or you like John Deere or Sunbelt or BP gas station because they're all the same colors, well, then you have to realize something. Even in Star Trek, the person who normally led the ship outside of Picard wore either gold or yellow or green. And everybody needs the sun. Everybody needs the plants. Everybody needs fruits and vegetables. Pretty sure those colors add up. See, Picard, they said, oh, it was a better look for him to be in red. But I think Picard knew from his engineering or security background, depending, that if 1's for the paper and 2's for the money, he knew about number 2. And if humans are valuable, if they told you your blood is blue and then when it hits the air, it becomes red, you got a lot more science to study. Because he was trying to protect you. See, Picard came after Kirk, right? He actually inspired Kirk, right? Kobayashi Maru. You don't want to end up a Kobe steak, but you don't also want to end up maroon or dead either, because purple is not a good color either if you can't swim in the ocean. So I will see you guys in another video of Finding Freedom. Hopefully some of you guys understand this. Till next time, peace.